rejoice, and happiness thou art. O noble Kappa, Alpha Psi, from thee will never part.
This is Brandon Jackson, Indianapolis Alumni, Chapter Fall 2002. I'm with the current pole mark of the Indianapolis Alumni Chapter, Brother Dr. Martin Hill. Brother Hill, can you kind of talk about why 112 years is significant as we celebrate our Founders Day this year?
I would say 112 years means someone had a thought or an idea and believed in it enough to start it, but left it in such a way that others who followed could buy into it and believe in the same way they did. Because if you don't have the longevity of the buy-in, if you don't have someone who sees your vision and then knows how to add to that vision to continue it forward, we're not talking about 112 years.
Right. I'm sorry. Brother Polmark. Brother Polmark, can you talk about what it means to you to be the Polmark of the Indianapolis Alumni Chapter being such a rich chapter? I mean, how does that make you feel? Because honestly, you're in a position that a lot of brothers may never be in, being the Polmark of this illustrious chapter. What does that mean to you?
So coming from, I am a 1996 Spring Initiative Lansing alumni, Lansing, Michigan, the small but mighty Northern Province. So to come down here, the chapter who kind of reigned supreme or really demonstrated a lot of influence. All chapters, I think, are equally valued, but I think the one that had the more richer history was Detroit Alumni.
Yes.
Now I'm in Indianapolis. I moved from Michigan, come down to Indiana, and of all chapters to join is the Indianapolis Alumni. It's overwhelming. It causes me at times to be speechless. I'm very humbled by it. I'm humbled by it because I wasn't made in this province.
Right.
These are brothers who have opened their arms and adopted me into the chapter. And 18 years later from moving here, now I am the Polmark. Would not have been something I would have anticipated or assumed. And it's something I don't take lightly. I take it very seriously, and I am, again, very humbled that the brothers entrusted me with the keys to the car.
Right. Brother Polmark, I think my last question is that, you know, the Indianapolis Alumni Chapter is doing so many great things, you know, like the Guide Bar program with Kappa League and the great things that you're doing. Can you kind of share the vision of 2023 in terms of the Indianapolis Alumni Chapter?
So when I first started or took office and started this, I tease affectionately and call it my reign of terror. I wanted 3 specific things that I was looking at. We needed to make sure we celebrated and highlighted our seniors more often. We needed to make sure that we were beefing up and engaging in our undergraduates as well as our Kappa League. And then we really needed to start getting out and partnering and building these connections and these fraternal bonds between fraternities and sororities or other fraternal organizations in the area. As now coming towards the end of my tenure, we have done a lot of these things and have started some, I think, great inaugural events that I look forward to seeing as annual events. What does 2023 look like? More partnerships and collaborations with Divine Nine. Maybe getting back to some more, let's call it traditional Kappa events, call it something that looks like a formal event, like a black and white, or something where we may partner with another entity to throw a formal after 5 event. other opportunities to get out and partner, meaning let's get farther out and outreach more in other parts of the city, i.e. why we've done some things on the east side versus the west side.
Right.
Why did we go do an event in Hamilton County?
Yeah.
Just so there's folks out there who look like us, sound like us, and might benefit from what we do. And so I want us to continue to show the reach and the impact that this chapter and this fraternity has.
Thank you. So there you have it. Hey, this is Brother Brandon Jackson, Indianapolis Alumni Chapter 502. I'm with Brother Keith Young. Hey, guys, this is a very special weekend. Kappa Alpha Psi Indianapolis Alumni Chapter is celebrating the Founders Day weekend, 112 years. Brother Young, can you tell us why this weekend is so important for Indianapolis Alumni Chapter?
Well, Indianapolis Alumni Chapter is a revered chapter of our fraternity. We're celebrating 112 years from January 5th, 1911, Indiana University, our 10 great founders. This fraternity is built on bold and courageous men, young men. In 1911, to come up with this fraternity, and we're still doing it today. That's why we celebrate with these brothers here, having a good time.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Young. And one of the reasons why we want to put this together so we can share this with brothers all over the United States, because not many of you have been able to come to Kappa soil here in Indiana. Yo.
Happy birthday, brother.
All right, my name is Wendell Dunham. I'm Z from Zeta Alpha, Spring 96. Favorite Kappa moment? Anytime I'm hanging around with the bros, like a moment like today, where we're doing this chili cook-off and taste contest. So, yo.
How you doing? My name is Andre Hart from Grand Pie Chapter, Spring 85, Morehouse College. I was asked my greatest Kappa moment. It would have to be when the Newsom Pride Chapter came to the 2011 celebration for 1 year anniversary. Absolutely outstanding. Yo.
What's up, y'all? This is Kevin KJ Johnson, 1980 Initiative Z Chapter, the Howard at Howard University. My favorite Kappa moment was being the meeting planner for the Centennial in 2011.
I'm with Brother Snow, 112 Diggs from 4D. Brother Snow, can you talk about why this weekend is so important here in the Indianapolis Alumni Chapter?
Well, certainly here in Indianapolis, but Founders Days are so important to Kappas everywhere, but not just Kappas. I mean, Founders Days have become so important that, as you may know, the President of the United States himself felt it his duty to send out a private message to Kappa wishing us a happy J5. But it's a time for us to get back to the fundamentals of Kappa, to do the things that we did when we first crossed the burning sands, to rededicate ourselves to the principles of Phi Nu Pi. There is nothing better in Kappa than Founders Day. And to that, brothers, I say yo.
I'm with William Durham, president of the Indianapolis 100 Black Man Chapter. Brother Durham, let's talk about why this weekend is so important.
Well, this weekend is important because it's a weekend that we celebrate the founding of our great fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Men coming together, fellowship in the honorable name of achievement, because that's what our grand fraternity is all about. So I'm really excited about the celebrations that will happen this weekend, because we're all in this thing together to move the mission of the organization forward and uphold the mission and the values of Phi Nu Pi.
I'm with Marvin Bardo, Gary Alumni 1994, okay? And when you think about Kappa, along with so many other great Kappa men in Indianapolis, you cannot go without mention of Brother Marvin Bardo. Bardo, can you kind of talk about your experience as a pole mark here at Indianapolis Alumni Chapter?
Yes, first of all, I was the 44th pole mark of the Indianapolis Alumni Chapter. Probably the best 2 years of my Kappa career. We did a lot of great things during those 2 years. We were smaller in numbers, but we did a whole lot of community service, did a whole lot for the fraternity. We had brothers on every level, very active. We were the North Central Province Alumni Chapter of the Year during my second year as pole marker. I actually won the C. Roger Wilson Leadership Award that year, and the President's Call of Leadership Award. So it was very beneficial for me personally and very productive for the fraternity.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Williams, and I am the 51st pole marker of the Indianapolis Alumni Chapter. I had the blessing and the honor to serve as pole marker of the Indianapolis Alumni Chapter during its 100th celebration of the Indianapolis Alumni Chapter. As pole mark, it was definitely some of the highest times in my fraternity career, but also some very challenging times. I was pole mark during COVID-19, where essentially the world shut down and we had to figure out a new way to brotherhood and fellowship and run the chapter. So as pole mark, it was an opportunity for me to think big and think differently to make sure that we sustain ourselves as a chapter. So in conclusion, as pole mark, I really enjoyed the brotherhood and the fellowship that I did have with brothers and how brothers connected in a different way.
I'm gonna take a stroll one day down Kappa Lane. Hand me down my Kappa cane. I said, hand me down my Kappa cane. I said, hand me down my Kappa cane.
Spring '96, I serve humbly as your pole marker.
Cedric Fillmore, Delta Phi, follow 3. Delta Phi is in Indiana Institute of Technology in Fort Wayne.
John Archie, Indianapolis Alumni, Baltimore.
Central Province pole mark, Spring '89, Bloomington Alumni.
Good morning, Kevin Johnson, Grand Chapter Meeting Planner, Spring '80, Howard University, Z Chapter.
Good morning, brothers. Eugene Anderson, Indianapolis Alumni, May 29th, 1987, 9:29 p.m. Currently a member of Indianapolis Alumni and Inglewood T-Neck Alumni in New Jersey.
Good morning, brothers. Richard Lee Snow, the Pennsylvania State University Chapter, the Delta Theta of Kappa. Good to be here. Winter, 1977.
But it didn't stop there. At a time when the world was a dark place for Negro men and women, Ezra D. Alexander, Byron, Kenneth Armstrong, Henry Turner Astor, Marcus Peter Blakemore, Paul Wayman Kane, George Wesley Edmund, Guy Lewis, Grant Edward, Giles Irvin, John Milton Lee picked up the light and continued to use that light to inspire others to service. But brothers, it didn't stop there. When the odds were stacked up against them, against people of color in every way imaginable, Lionel Artis and Irvin Armstrong and William G. Mays and Arthur Carter Sr. and Robert Williams and James Mosby Sr. picked up the light and inspired in such a profound way that the good brothers who knew them bestowed upon them the highest honors of this noble clan. But it didn't stop there. In the face of segregation, Jim Crow, Freedom Summer, Bloody Sunday, Mother Emanuel, modern lynchings, and we have Reuben Shelton and Myron Hardiman and Michael J. Owens and Corlin Kilpatrick and Benny Thompson and Colin Kaepernick and Hakeem Jeffries, who continue to carry the light in hopes that the power of the light will dispel the wickedness that represented by the darkness. But it doesn't stop there. Because if the good Lord allows, I hope that one day my sons, Jeffrey III and John Patrick, will look me in my eyes and express the desire to carry this same light long after I'm dead and gone. And hopefully it won't stop there. My brothers in Phi Nu Pi, we are all challenged to carry on the light that was ignited on that cold January day in 1911. I would like to believe, as we stand in this sacred space, surrounded by the hallowed history of this organization we hold dear, that the spirits of those among whose remains we stand are rejoicing in the great cloud of witnesses, as each and every brother gathered here renews his vow to continue to carry the light, until the day we all reach the golden shore. To God be the glory.
Wakes up early Sunday morning, Kappa learns his lessons oh so well. Kappa, he will love to.
Brother Jackson, Indianapolis Alumni Chapter, fall 2002. I'm with Brother Hardiman, who is, when you think of Kappa in Indianapolis, Indiana, you cannot think about Brother Hardiman. Brother Hardiman, new chapter, 1966. Can you talk about what it meant to you as a Kappa man growing up in Indiana and coming in fraternity here in New Chapter?
Well, to be quite honest, I knew nothing about fraternities when I went to Purdue. I shouldn't say that. I knew a little bit because I had interacted with some Kappas at Ball State. I'm originally from Muncie.
Okay.
And so in high school, I did try and crash a few of the fraternity parties.
With that DI.
And was not treated very well. So I didn't have a very high thought of fraternities. But as I got to Purdue and started interacting with some other black students, when I got to Purdue, there were 150 blacks there out of over 10,000 students.
Oh, wow.
So we had a very small black population. But I was able to meet and interact with some Kappas who were basically in the same dorm I lived in. And as I got to know them and saw the kinds of things that they were doing, several of them were in graduate school. They were in a Navy program, and they were working on their masters. But there were a few brothers like Guy Russell, Grass Bailey, Mike Barnes, who played football for Purdue, were there, and they had all been initiated through New Chapter, which is here in Indianapolis, the citywide chapter. And so they won me over, even though I didn't know anything about fraternities or Kappa to any great extent.
Brother Hartman, I know you were a young Kappa. What was it like meeting some of the founders who were living when you were Kappa?
It was extraordinary. I had the privilege to actually meet 4 founders.
Oh wow!
And the first founder that I met, I was initiated in fall of '66, and the conclave was in St. Louis in the summer of '67.
Okay.
And I was the chapter delegate and had the privilege to attend. And Brother Byron K. Armstrong,
yes, sir,
was there and present. Now he'd had a lot of health issues, and he had both his legs amputated at the knees. I think he may have had diabetes. But he was in a wheelchair, but I also had the privilege to to meet brothers, founders Grant and Alexander, Gael Grant and Nesby Alexander, as I became affiliated with Indianapolis Alumni Chapter in the early 70s. And then I also had the privilege to meet founder Edward G. Irvin out of Chicago. And so, yeah. But you know, one of the things that it was both a humbling and a pleasure to be able to meet and interact and talk with those founders.
There you have it, fellas. That's real Kappa history right here, Brother Hardeman. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And in Indiana, there is only one chapter that can call itself premier. Yes, my brothers, you are the premier chapter in Kappa, and no one can argue that. See, out of the Alpha came the Indy. You were birthed from the founders themselves. Now, to me, it feels like you as a chapter don't really understand how important you are to Kappa. You don't shout it to the top of your lungs. You don't wear it around your necks like a lavalier. But it's okay, my brother, because Indianapolis Alumni Chapter is the premier chapter in Kappa Alpha Psi.